Okay, so when I started thinking about doing food, when people ask you when you're growing up, like, what's your dream job? My dream job was never to own a restaurant or to start in food. But what I have learned about myself as an adult and as I've grown and as I become a mother is that food is really like my love language. I kind of joke about that all the time. Like I love to feed the people I love good food. And so the empowering part of my business is being able to cook good soups and sandwiches and salads and having foods that my kids love, that they are like, oh, you have loaded baked potato today. Can you bring me one home? And I think I have this following too of family. I say extended nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles and people that appreciate the food for its health and know that I'm trying to give back to a community that raised me through food. So through like healthy food options and through being able to also provide. I provide food for my community, but what I also get to do is I get to give back to my community. So every year at New Year's, on New Year's Day night, I do a free community feed. And we've done this every year that we've been open. And I did it the first year actually because the pandemic was hitting us so hard at that time. And there was just so much, it just felt like a cloud of grief was over our whole community at the time. And so I just thought, what can I do to lift our spirits a little bit? And so I just asked all of my family to help me volunteer, and we set up just like a giant food line, where like giant cars, like a drive-through basically. And we had people running out to cars, and this is January 1st, so it's freezing in Montana. And we just provided free soups and sandwiches, whoever, to however many people we had until we ran out of food. So we did that the first year. It was a huge success. People were thanking me for it for like months afterwards. And it wasn't even, to me, it wasn't a huge deal, but it meant so much during that time, that when we got to the second year in New Year's and people were asking, and I was like, absolutely, we're doing that again. And then last year, I think we fed up to 450 people that night last year. So this 2022 New Year's, we fed up to 500 people with soup before I ran out. And so those give backs and those things, like seeing people just being super grateful and like having their kids in the car and it's freezing out, but everyone's bundled up and people are walking up and getting sandwiches and salad and soups and being excited about it. So those are the things that I know matter more to me than making a dollar or being, in business, you want to make money. Obviously, you have to be able to pay your own bills and provide for your family and, have a living. But it's also about giving back to your own community. And so one thing that we do is, so Spoon and Fork sponsors, I have not yet said no to a single youth sponsorship. So we sponsor youth events because I want to see kids go and travel and get off the reservation and see different places. So if they get like a basketball tournament somewhere out of state and they're having trouble finding funding, they can stop in and we'll give them a donation to help them along the way. Or, we have people that stop in and, we have adults too that ask for funding, but I really kind of have honed in and like, let's just help get youth out to see the world so that they can see like how beautiful our home is, but then also the opportunities that are out there in the world. So, and then I'm a mother, so I have 2 kids too, and I want them to get out and see the world as well. But I also want them to know that we can have nice, fresh food options here on our home reservation, and it doesn't have to be like this gloom and doom thing about well, there's nothing else to eat but fried food. We can do other things. And it does cost. I mean, it's expensive to bring in fresh food every week. It's a taxing. Somebody has to go and, make a shop run. We call it shop runs, up to Billings to Costco and Sam's Club and get a fresh produce. But at the end of the day, the community and giving back and being able to provide a good service where I live and be able to support my family is what it's all about, I think. We're going into our third year of business, and the amount of people that we have that I never thought would be supporters, because, in small communities, you also have people who don't want you to be successful. And it's easy to get sucked down into that negativity and people saying, well, that's really expensive for a soup, or that's really, you want to pay that much for a sandwich or whatever. But to have just community members champion you and be like, well, it's fresh. Like, do you know how much it costs to bring in fresh produce and make soups from scratch every single day and come up with menus and stuff? And when I see community champions saying that and speaking on our behalf, and it makes it all worth it, I think, because then it's like they're getting what I'm trying to do. And it's not so much about I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm just trying to make a living and support my kids. So that's, at the end of the day, my goal.